Welcome back, class, to another live stream of Animation Collab, where I experiment with new techniques in my animation laboratory in collaboration with other content creators. My name is Sonja Geracsek and I'm a motion designer. If you'd like to support me, subscribe if you haven't already. I live stream every Tuesday and Friday. And today is a special day because I'm trying something new. If you follow me on Instagram under Sonja Geracsek, the same way I'm written all over my other social media platforms or my online profiles, let's say, I have joined Clubhouse. If you don't know what Clubhouse is, it's a new networking app. I'll show you. This is Clubhouse. It's an app where you can join and chat to other people, essentially. Some people have called it a social media, social network. They describe themselves as a social network, but I find it more like a Zoom call where you can join different topics and listen in and also chat. So basically, long story short, I've opened up today's live stream to also be available on Clubhouse, audio only. But if you are on Clubhouse, if you are a member, you can send me voice chat questions via the room Storyboarding and Explainer video animation collab number 19, which is where we at today. And if you don't know what the series is, you can go to my YouTube channel and catch up on all the previous episodes of this collab and of other collabs that I've done in the past. My entire library of live stream replays are available on my YouTube channel. And as of late, I have just set it up. Hang on, my mouse is being weird. You can now, if you'd like to support me, so far you were always able to subscribe and follow on any platform that I'm on. You can also become my patron. You can find all the links in the description and also on screen right here. You can become a patron of mine, and now you can also buy me a coffee, because why not? So basically, if you don't know what Ko-fi is, I don't know if I'm supposed to pronounce it coffee, or Ko-fi, because that's how it's written and that's how I would naturally pronounce it. But anyway, so Ko-fi is a platform very similar to Patreon, only that it's one-off donations rather than a subscription-based support. So it's like crowdfunding, but you're crowdfunding my efforts to be an online content creator rather than a product. I suppose you are indirectly also crowdfunding the products that I put out, which is the live streams that I do, the free content, the free tips and tricks, and all the other marketing information and videos that I put out on all the various channels. So, and for anyone joining on Clubhouse, if you don't know what this room is about, I'm doing a video live stream on my YouTube channel, but you can ask me voice questions via Clubhouse. Okay, let's jump into the work. I need to open that up first. Usually I already have this ready, but I was doing a few other things before the stream, and now I'm needing to go in. Oh, this is where the other PDF copy went. Okay. I think I saved it out somewhere else. So last time I illustrated one of two storyboards of the explainer video that I'm animating for my friend Andy, who also has a YouTube channel, and he does cybersecurity videos. So how you can defend yourself from attacks, hacking attempts, and other intrusive things that can happen on the internet. Okay, so yeah, So I finished off the first storyboard. There's another storyboard to go, but there's still work to be done in the first storyboard. I want to simplify this last scene that you can now see with the two monitors here. It's getting too crowded in this. I also want to simplify some of these scenes so that the titles aren't quite so large, and also that they're not on screen the entire time. So those few things I want to change, and also I want to lock the subtitle layer because I won't be touching it after adding all of the script to it, which I did last time. And I want to save that. And then today we're going to finish off, well, I don't know if we're going to finish off the storyboard, but we're going to continue working on the second storyboard. And once I'm done with all of the scenes, then I'm going to go back and kind of go back and work on some of the details of the first storyboard. This is where I was going with that. So far, nobody is in my Clubhouse room. I mean, I didn't expect much to come from that since it's a pretty new app, and I don't think a lot of people, first of all, know how to work it. I know I didn't, and I don't think people know what my room is supposed to be about, because it's kind of random that I'm doing a live stream and an audio chat on an app that is not connected to the live stream at the same time. Hi, Tom. Good to see you. Yeah, I did it. Oh my god, it was like 8.5 hours and lots of breaks. But I did it. By the end of it, I actually thought I was gonna finish off early because I'm like, wow, I'm getting tired. I don't know if I can keep going. But then I was so close to finishing off. There was like just a few scenes left. I'm like, let's get this done. So close to the end. So yeah, I pulled it off. I actually packaged it into a PDF to send to Andy, which I haven't done yet. Sorry, Andy. I'm gonna send it to you soon. But yeah, I even added, let's look at one of these screens. So I even added like the little subtitle thing. They're not subtitles. I know I'm using the wrong word for this, but they are the text below the screen that is the script that describes the screen you're looking at, or the scene that you're looking at. So just so we're on the same page, I'm calling them subtitles. So I've added all the subtitles. I've exported it as a PDF, and that looks like this. And once I get around to it, I'll actually send it to Andy and he can have a look at it, and it looks like this. Pretty cool. There you go. Yeah, there's definitely stuff that I want to change. Also, I don't like the weight difference on the strokes here, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. Yeah, at some point. I'll do that at some point. Once we're finished with... The thing is, some of these, like, thinner lines look good, but some of the thinner lines don't look good. Maybe I'll just have to make more of a distinction of what has a thin line and what doesn't. But yeah, anyway, for now, I'm gonna leave it like that. Ooh, something's happening here. I have to fix that at some point. Yeah, so that's the first storyboard, more or less. And now we're gonna jump into the second storyboard. And let's have a look. Okay, one common theme across these various techniques is a desire to not be spotted. Therefore, an attacker may take advantage of defense evasion techniques to avoid setting off an alert or to cover their tracks. So the way Andy saw this happening was with a camera. Well, the one is the CCTV camera, or like just a surveillance camera. And what they actually do is they open a log file, click button to delete, and the log entries disappear. So there's like a symbology way of looking at it, and then what actually happens. I don't know if I can make that clear enough that one is symbolic and the other one is what actually happens. Let's have a look at the previous storyboard. What type of things were we working with? I'm not sure how to proceed with that. I don't know if I should include the surveillance camera or if I should just go directly to the screen. The desire not to be spotted. The sentence is too long to just dwell on the screen, I think. Yeah, I'm stumped for this one. Well, you know what? I'm going to just create this log file then. Yeah, I'm just gonna, for now, just gonna create that screen because I think that's something I definitely want. So I'm gonna take this computer. Yeah, sure. I'll take this computer and I'll put it here. And I have some layers that don't appear in this storyboard. So what I'm gonna do, what is this? Oh, that's the background. Gonna make this background white. And lock it. And then I'm also going to use the paste remembers layers because I don't have the storyboard layer in here. So I'm just going to paste that, and that will bring the layer that I had in the other file over, so I don't have to create that layer, and add this. And also I need, what is this on? I can't tell. Okay, oh, all of these images are actually in the script files. What I'm gonna do is get the rough storyboard. Okay, so I have a layer in the other storyboard that is the rough storyboard, so I'm gonna bring that in. And what I did for the other file, I changed this. I need to double click, I think. I changed this to a template that also dims it by 50%. And now I'm going to, I wonder if I can just, yeah, I'm just gonna copy all of these linked files. I mean, not copy, I'm just gonna drag them. And there's a few little text files that are not necessary. But anyway, I'm gonna drag all of these into the rough storyboard. It's locked. I locked it. Need to unlock it and then drag it in there. And obviously the rough storyboard needs to be above the background, otherwise we don't see it. Wow, I'm just realizing how tired I am today. Sorry, if my energy is low, that's why. I was working on my online class today, on the second part of my motion graphics templates class. If you don't know, I have online classes, and this is the first part of that online class series. And I was working on the second part, which deals with lower thirds, and I was writing a whole bunch of code and like optimizing the code that I used in the original design. Because the original design, so the class, I'll take you back. The class is based on an Adobe stock template that I created for Adobe Stock. And when I create that, usually I create the Adobe stock and it adheres to all the guidelines and I upload it, and when it gets accepted, you can buy it on Adobe stock for your Premiere Pro projects. In the Essential Graphics panel, you can just search for different templates and you can find one of mine and use it in your Premiere Pro edits. And so when I created that and I made it and I sent it off and it was approved, like I thought, okay, cool, that's, you know, a good template. But then after I used it a few times, I was like, ooh, there is like this thing and that thing that I could improve. And actually when I make classes, because my classes are based on personal projects, I end up improving on the project as I'm making the class, because the way I make my classes is I go through step by step of how I went through making that project, and I write down everything that I changed, like the code that I used, the layer that I applied the code to, and I make a detailed script. I call it a script, but really it's like just steps, so I don't miss out anything when I'm recording. And yeah, I end up improving a bunch of the stuff that the first round kind of missed out. And now I leveled up that code to a point where I'm like, holy shit, I never even thought of doing that, you know? Or like, I don't know, there was just something, because when I'm explaining the tool, I try it out in ways that I guess I don't try when I make it the first time around. It's I don't know, surprising to me, because my templates, they still work, you know, they work well, they are engineered well, but I guess there is something I do for the class, some kind of trying to break it or something, I don't know. When I really discover, oh, it's not able to do that. Usually it's not stuff that is necessary to be included in that template. It's still functional, but it's something I'm like, well, I could improve that if I'm teaching somebody how to make this. And yeah, I worked on this code and I improved a whole bunch of stuff. And I only worked on the script for 2 hours, but it felt like I was doing it for 5 hours. So now I'm a little exhausted. I went outside and I took a little walk in the snow. It's been snowing since yesterday, so it's like super nice outside. But yeah, I'm a little tired, so the energy is a little low. Maybe we'll do a bit of a shorter one today, especially after the 8.5 hours stream from last week. But I keep forgetting to turn off that's my stand up and stop looking at the screen alarm. Okay, so I moved all of the stuff. Now I can lock the script and lock everything else that I'm not touching right now. And let's make the screen larger and center it. And yeah, now I'm gonna need that text again, but now I think I'm going to make it smaller. So I'm going to make it, let's say, 50% smaller. I can use the scale function. If you double click on it, you can go to the uniform scale, type in 50%, and if you hit tab or like leave that, it becomes that size, and I like that way more. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna put the reference point to the top so it doesn't move from where it is. Oh, it still does that, because when I go into this, the reference point is just in the center there. I wonder if I can move it to the top and then enter. You know what I also would like here? I would like the crosshairs for this. That way I can find the center of this. Put the anchor point there, but when I go into the scale transform, it still jumps to the center, so I can't really affect that. Whoops, I didn't change the number. So never mind, that's fine, and I'll just move it visually. I can bring back the what am I doing? Oh yeah. The video safe areas. And oh no. Yeah, I can tell from all the weird things I'm clicking right now and saying right now that my brain is tired. Hello, anyone who is joining the Clubhouse room. This session is asking questions for the live stream that I'm doing on YouTube. So if you like to watch the live stream and would like to ask me questions via voice chat on Clubhouse, feel free to do that. All right. So we've got, yes, also there's another thing. So right now I centered it in accordance of the entire object, but obviously that's not the center of the frame, because we have this like gray rectangle that's kind of displaced. So I'm gonna have to move it to the left a little bit so the actual text is in the center. All right, let's save that before anything breaks. And yeah, I think I like that size way more. So we would be looking at this at, let's put this at 100%. Zoom, 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 zoom. Where can I view at 100%? I thought there was a way to do that. No? Control 1? No. Oh yeah, Control 1 is at 100%, but I guess that's only 100% if you watching this full screen. But I think, regardless, I think this is still large enough. The text is large enough to be legible. I can even get rid of the rough storyboard. Actually, I do want the rough storyboard to be behind the background so that I can turn the background on and off and see the storyboard. But yeah. Basically, this is the size. Cool. I can see my mic picking up some of the sound from the outside. I'm going to check that. Oh, but the levels are at 90. Did I touch my gain again? Nope. Everything's fine. Don't know why it's picking up. All right. Okay, so And if you are on Clubhouse and you would like to ask me a question, just raise your hand and then I can unmute you or let you speak if you have questions while you're watching the stream on YouTube or Twitch. You can also watch the stream on Twitch. Alright, so we have the computer, and then we want the log screen, which is this. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll get rid of the browser window. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't even need the browser window for this execute thing, because the execute thing is usually on its own. It's not inside of the browser window. So that's another thing to be removed. You know what? I'm going to... Maybe I'll make notes here. So you know what? I'm gonna add a layer. Name this layer notes. And as I find things that I want to change, I'm just gonna add some text. And here, so let's add some text. Text is super tiny, of course. Let's make it like super huge, and let's make it like red with black outline. Let's add some thick outline here. Oh, yeah, sure, why not? All right, so remove window behind XC. I'll just put this here, and that will be the things that I want to change. And I'll lock my storyboard so I don't accidentally paste it onto that layer. Something else what I would like to do is let's go all the way to the back here. And actually at this screen we'll remove miter title, but actually not this screen, but this one. And this is okay. And I'm going to add the same thing here. Remove title after first frame. Oops. Let's put that, I don't know, somewhere where I can read it. Cool, and I'll add that everywhere I want that to happen. And also here I want to add unify lines. So this is something, this notes situation, it's just something I came up with now. That's not usually something I do during the design process. But I thought it might be a good idea to just kind of record things that I'm noticing as I'm working on this. And this frame here is too busy. Simplify design, too busy. Yeah. And there was something about the envelope that was broken here. So let's add that there. Oh no, it added it to a random place here. Fix envelope left side. Yeah, okay. And I want all titles to be smaller as well. Okay, cool. So let's go back in here, and now the same thing applies here. I don't actually want this. Okay, it's one thing, so I'm gonna have to ungroup that. And I only want this, this like exe thing. Oh, there's one more thing. Delete that. And I want this to be... let's see. Let's see how I want to do that. So I want this to be like this size, but I don't actually want any of the, like the text and everything else. I don't want the sizes to change. So what I'm gonna do is, so maybe I want this to be white then if the background, I guess the screen, in that case the screen doesn't need to be gray, it can be white, because that is gray. And then these screens then also need to be white. Oh, that's why I had it in this like browser window, because it was like, yeah. All right, let's add that to the notes. All right, let's keep that in there. Now what I would like to do is I'm gonna make this larger. And I realized that I have two different frames here. One is probably the background, one is the foreground with just the frame, with just the stroke. Okay. I'm going to align it to the left, and then, so I want to grab this one and this one. Whoa, nope, do not want to do that. Okay, I want to grab this one and this one. Those should be the ones that I want. Then I can move that, and the envelope is still here, so I'm gonna delete that envelope. And now, but now this exe thing is pretty small. But I guess that's not really the information we need, so I think that's fine that we can't see that. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab this, and I don't need this blue thing. I can make this blue. Oh yeah, I don't have, oh yeah, I have some of the graphic styles. Hi Pascal, welcome to the stream. I think today is going to be a slightly shorter one than normal, because I'm feeling quite drained from writing all that code that I did earlier today. Okay, so let's make this, and this should say, oops, this should say, what should this say? Access logs. Access logs. And this should say delete logs. And I'm going to make all of this capitalized, all caps, and then we'll move that in here and make it white. And that means we need to make this one larger. Nope, this one. And where is that type? This text is here, okay. So I'll group that, and I think I need to go in and actually align this properly. Yeah, of course that's not going to work. Okay. I think the frame can be just a tad wider. And then we can bring this graphic down here. And then, what else? This. Okay, so there's something else. I want this to be in the center of the screen, and then I can align these two to each other. Align. I can show you the code. If that's, if you would prefer me doing that as the stream today, I'd be happy to do that, because I can feel the life draining out of me right now as I'm talking and trying to like design, because I think my brain is really fried. Okay. Maybe we'll just do like a Q&A today if people want to ask questions. I know we don't have a lot of viewers on the live stream right now, but why won't they align to each other? Okay, let's come on. Oh, I have to go. Maybe if I go inside the group. Let me go inside the group. Okay. Now, will you do it now? Yes. Okay, great. All right, now it's nice and centered, and I'm also gonna do these like dashed lines. So let me finish this screen, and then I'll show you the code I've been writing. So we're talking about expression JavaScript in After Effects. So this is not code, but it's also kind of code. Okay. Where was I? Oh my god, I'm so tired, you guys. This writing that script drained the life out of me. I'm so surprised. Yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure I could probably simplify the code, because the way I wrote it was kind of fixing stuff that affected other stuff. So if I wrote the first stuff better, then I wouldn't have to adjust the second stuff to account for those changes, if you know what I mean, if that makes sense. I don't think I'm making sense because I'm so tired. But yeah, basically, I'm pretty sure I could make it easier, but now I've written all of that script based on that code, so I think I'm gonna leave it that way. But I'm open to suggestions, you know, it's always good to learn, and for the next time I might write better code. So what I don't like is when I'm zoomed out, it looks like these lines aren't straight. You see these artifacts here? Like the line isn't straight? So annoying. I mean, I always take that as an indicator if a line is straight. It's a little annoying. Okay, so let's add a dashed line, and I'll see if I can also... Why is it not creating a dashed line? Oh, I think I cannot add a dashed line if I'm using that other method. It has to be the stroke width instead of this rounded. I think I need to use the basic stroke. And I'm also going to add these gaps because I kind of like those gaps. So, yep, let's do it like that. And then I'm gonna add, no, I still want them to be 12, but then the second gap is going to be, oh, I see. That's not how that works. Wait, I want this to be 12. And then the second gap is gonna be like 24, maybe? Kind of. Is this what I want? I don't know. So let's have this 12. And then, why is this not larger? And then this is 12. And then I have a third gap, which is like 48. Does that work? No, not really. 48. I don't think I can make the types of gaps that I want, but this is good enough. Maybe it's not the gaps that I need. So let me check what I want the look to be. I think I need to go back out. I think I would need more gaps to create that look. So 12. Then this gap is like huge. I need to actually highlight it. Hello? This one. So let's make this gap absolutely huge. Well, it's not absolutely huge. Uh, 48 is probably fine. And then oh, okay, I see what that does now. Okay, it doesn't matter. I'll just make it like this. And it's supposed to replicate these logs. I'm gonna do it differently in the final outcome. And then I can do my blend thing again. Blend options. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, let's go with 8. See what that does. And then I need to go create, make blend. Yeah, good enough. So now we have some axis logs. And I think, yeah, I really thought I was gonna continue with this, but actually I think I need to not use my brain right now. But essentially that would be happening for these 3 screens. And then some sort of metaphor for the not being detected, desire not to be spotted. So some sort of metaphor for that. Not sure what I'm going to use for that yet. But basically, you know what? I'm going to just do some easy stuff. I'm going to add this to this screen and That way I'm like set up for at least the easy stuff for the next time we're doing this stream. Is this? Yep, it's locked. That's why I can't access this. And it's supposed to say privilege escalation. Okay, whoops, nope, wrong. Privilege. Ledge without a D. Privilege escalation. And now I need to grab these. About that distance. Bit less. Bit less. Okay. After privilege escalation, we have credential access, discovery, and lateral movement. I think I'm going to separate these just like I separated this screen here. So there was originally, this was all these three, this was all on one screen, and also this was all on one screen. So I think I'm going to, and I separated them just to show you, I separated these to come on one after the other. And I think I'm going to do the same because it's otherwise going to be far too busy. So basically, let's get this credential access on here. I need to unlock that again. Credential access. And lock. And then we have a discovery. Let's say that discovery happens let's say discovery happens 2 frames later. No, actually this is a lot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 frames of this. Divided by 3 is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 5th one. Is it the 4th one? Each one is 4. Okay. Okay. Now we have discovery. And for these, I will probably do like the kinetic type animation that I mentioned that I might do. And what I mean by that is that I won't have the text appear on screen, disappear on screen, and appear on screen, but like kind of shrink down to hide the text and then open up again to be the new text, or something like that. Or maybe I'll make the letters change in like a, you know, like a rolling motion. So hi, on Clubhouse, if you are joining this room, this is to ask me questions about my current live stream on YouTube via voice chat. So if you're interested in watching the live stream and asking me questions on Clubhouse, you can do that. Okay, and this one's 4 screens. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. And I'll just add that there. And this is lateral movement. Is this a capital L? I guess it is. Oops, nope, I have to lock the text. And then, you know what? I'm just gonna keep going for all the text that we have on all these different screens. So now we have, what was this again? Command access? Command and control. Command and, no, let's not use the word command control. And let's lock that again, and then we'll grab this and move it out. And I'm doing this just by rule of thumb, how far away that is, because I'm going to create a template with the text where the box adjusts dynamically around the text. The way I've written the code for the class, in fact. It's my new favorite way to do text in After Effects. Oh, created new text. Unlock. And this one's called collection. And then we have exfiltration, I think. I need to zoom in to see that. Exfiltration, yep. Nope. Yes, pretty much. Source directed time, and then just reading the width and height of the text. Exfiltration, and then we have impact. Whoa. Whoops. Doing stuff that is like kind of, how should I call it? Kind of robotic like this. You know, it doesn't require brain power. It's only mechanical. I'm just copying, pasting, changing the same thing, and it's like the same thing over and over again. Those kind of tasks are the best to do when you are running out of fuel or your brain is giving out. Impact, impact. And then we go back to the, for the last screen, we go back to this dude. Where is the mitre attack screen? And I can use, I guess I can, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna use this. I have seen the class. I have not taken it, so I don't know how good it is. And honestly, I'm not sure. So with some classes on places like School of Motion and Motion Design School and Motion Hatch, they are super useful, I think. But sometimes it's hard for me to gather if they are useful for me, because I'm not a beginner going into this, and how much am I going to get out of this? Like, there's one resource by Ukramedia that I bought that was also expressions specific, ukramedia.com. They also have free tutorials on their YouTube channel. It's a super good resource. And basically they have this expressions course that I wasn't sure if I should get, but at that time I was pretty early on in my expressions journey. Yeah, it's this Learn After Effects Expressions 1.1, and it's explains a lot about like various statements and functions, and also kind of the JavaScript background of these expressions. So it's a really great foundational course. But because I now took that foundational course and I've expanded on that knowledge, I don't know if other courses are going to be delivering kind of more or less the same idea. So I don't know if... I'm never sure if I want to invest in classes like that, because they're quite a large investment. And because I'm a Skillshare teacher, I also have a Skillshare subscription. Those two things don't go together, but I am a Skillshare teacher, and I also have a Skillshare subscription. So I have a lot of access to classes like that. And so then that's an extra step, taking a course, a one-off paid online course on a different platform, because it's not a subscription model like Skillshare. It's not... it's like a one-off payment, which is usually relatively high. It's totally justified. Those courses are great, and if you are a beginner that wants to learn that, I would definitely suggest taking those courses. It's just that for me as a not beginner, I'm never sure, because the things that they show in the little trailer things, I'm like, yeah, those are cool things to learn, and it's cool to learn how to do that, but I'm pretty sure I already know how to do that. I just haven't applied it in that specific style with these specific graphics. But how this is built, I probably already know, so is it worth it for me to buy it? I'm never sure. I can never make that decision. So I tend to not, because it is a large investment. So yeah. So the classes, as you say, Tom, they are tailored to MoGraph artists with no JavaScript experience, and I don't have a large JavaScript background as such, but I have some HTML experience, I have some CSS experience, that has expanded into JavaScript experience. I've done a little bit of coding in Flash when it used to be Flash back in the day. So all of this like knowledge bits combined, and with the fact that I've been using expressions basically ever since I've been using After Effects, kind of puts me above a beginner level. Maybe not an expert, I'm definitely still learning, I'm definitely still writing bad expressions, but I wouldn't call myself a beginner, so I don't know how much I would get out of these courses. Oh, you got to hang out with the tutors. Yeah, that's cool. Sorry, a class for School of Motion. Well, I would love to make a class for School of Motion, but as far as I know, you have to be approached by them to make a class. So I haven't been approached by them. I mean, I guess I could approach them and see if they want me to make classes for them. That would be kind of cool, actually. But I don't know how their system works. I'm basically, the reason I'm mainly on Skillshare, I am on other platforms as well. For example, I'm also on Udemy and CG Circuit, but I get almost no engagement on those platforms. Skillshare is the platform I get the most engagement, and I also heard that if you have a large following, places like Teachable can be really good, but I don't have a particularly large following. I mean, at the moment, 4 people are watching the stream. It's I wonder if, and then from those 4 people, how many would actually buy the course. So I don't know if right now is the best time to go that route. But if I went through School of Motion, who don't constantly, or they don't have a huge library of courses, they have kind of a limited library and it's very tailored to motion design, I think I could probably grab an audience that might be interested in this type of stuff. So I'd be interested in that. I just don't know how to go about doing that. Yeah, Skillshare just has a very easy entry level of starting to create classes. You just kind of sign up and you get going. As long as you follow the guidelines, there is no reason why you can't publish classes on there. Oh right, I was copying this, so let's do that. You know what? I'm gonna copy this, not this one. This one and this one. I'm just gonna put that here. Oh yeah. Okay, so something is going to fall off the thing if I copy it like that. Excellent. Let's do it like this. So, by the way, if you noticed me not complaining about OBS, I actually had to roll back 2 or 3 versions before it stopped doing the force resize and I couldn't see the chat anymore. So super happy about that, but also kind of annoying that I had to do that because now, you know, there's a bunch of bugs that are theoretically oh, that's off the grid, that are theoretically not, that I don't have, basically. You know what, I'm not gonna do the animation off thing. What I'm gonna do is just copy this onto all of these screens, and then eventually I'm gonna get to how I'm going to animate that, and it's going to probably be very similar to the scene in the first storyboard. But anyway, this is where we are. I've prepped all of the stuff that I could have prepped without having to think too much, and now I'm gonna show you the code. Let's save that, and let's also save this. I'm gonna close that. And yeah, let's do that. So the final one is probably this one. Waiting for After Effects to start up. Come on. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to have to make this smaller. There is so much going on. Let's try minimal. Ooh, that's too minimal. Let's try small screen. That's better. Okay, and also I would like to have the essential graphics open that are here now. Great. Okay, so the original template that I submitted to Adobe Stock is this one, and I'll just show you what it can do. I'll just close all of this stuff. So you can change the global size as you would expect. You can change the color. That's the shadow color actually. You can change the position. It has a clamp to stop it from going past a certain point. And you can change the title, and the subtitle follows. And you can change the subtitle, and it has, wait, It has math max to calculate which of the two between the title and the subtitle is larger, and adjusts the width of the frame for that. You can change the size. So, and this is where this one isn't as refined as the one before, because I didn't anticipate somebody wanting to make the subtitle larger than the title. So the title doesn't adjust in position, and yeah, the subtitle overlaps the title. So that's a downside of this one. I also included, I think, line height, line spacing. So I included this, but I made it small enough so that you don't go past the frame, because actually, if you notice, the frame increases in size in both directions rather than just in the direction where the line height changes. So I fixed that. There's padding for the screen, and I made it stuck to the left, so to speak. So, okay, what I mean by that is this text is actually center aligned, but I made it so that when it's on the left side of the screen, the text is actually left aligned. Whoa, hey, slowly. It's left aligned, as you can see now, okay. And when it's on the other side of the screen, it's right aligned, and that happens automatically. You don't have to change anything. So now it's right aligned. Woo, woo, woo. And when it's not all the way at the right, it's center aligned. So when it's here, it's in the center, it's center aligned. What? So yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. Let's put this back. And now I'll show you how I improved on that. So let's start with the frame. So I have the frame here, and I'm actually working with the rectangle path size. So I'm not working with the scale of the frame, but I'm actually working with the path properties. And I've linked the X and Y values of the size to sliders on my control layer. So these are the two sliders that control the X and Y, the width and height of this rectangle, which is my frame. And then in my X and Y variables on these sliders, I'm calculating for the X, I'm calculating the width, and I'm including the scale transform just in case, really just in case. I'm not giving the user access to the scale of the text, because the size, these size changes here, these size sliders are actually the character size, so it's actually the font size. But I always add that. I always add that in my width and height calculation, just in case I change the scale or I decide to give access to the scale in some shape or form. So it's always included. And so for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, is if in this expression, I'm calling the size of the title, the width of the title specifically, not just the size in general, the width of the title, and I'm telling this frame to be the width of the title. There's a little bit more involved in this, but basically I'm telling it to be the width of the title plus the padding that I've decided in my padding slider. I think it's like, I don't know, 50, 100, it's 50. Okay, let's log this. So my padding slider is 50, that's 50 on each side from this edge of the frame to the size of the text. And this max max says calculate whichever one is larger between the title and the subtitle and make the frame that size plus the padding. And if that calculates the font size of, well, it doesn't calculate the font size, but let's think about it as if it calculated the font size of the title, but it doesn't calculate if I made the title a different size and it didn't have this transform scale calculation added to it. Let's just remove that for a second. Yep. And if I now scale the title, the width doesn't scale properly because it only scales with the font size. It doesn't include the scale property. It's just a different thing that needs to be added if you want to use the scale property. So I added that. I always add that just in case. And I'm not sure if something's wrong with the chat because I keep seeing the same message from Tom over and over. So I don't know, Tom, if you're asking that multiple times or if something's wrong with the chat. Let me just check on YouTube what's happening there. Yeah, it's definitely my chat that's broken. I don't know. My chat keeps showing the same message over and over. I'm not sure why that is. Okay, so either way, back to it. Now I have a similar calculation for the height of this frame, but because I don't need to have the math max because you know, there aren't two different elements that might be wider or less wide. No, it was definitely my chat, Tom. The Restream OBS connection did something weird. Your chat was, or your message went through the chat only once, but it's showing up multiple times in my window. Okay, so now the cool thing that I did here, the things that were, you know, not functioning the way I would have liked them to in the original, are now fixed here. Also, I have the functionality of turning off the subtitle. And also, if you remember the math max that I mentioned, theoretically, if I turn off the subtitle and the frame's still calculating the size of the subtitle, and let's say I make the title a lot smaller. So let's say the title is small. Somehow it got smaller than the subtitle. If I turned the subtitle off without any additional code and I only have the math max, then the frame would stay this size and wouldn't shrink down to the size of the title that is now smaller than the subtitle. But I fixed that. I fixed that with a conditional statement to calculate, first of all, two things. I added, so let's undo that. Also, hopefully I will not save this by accident because I don't want these changes to be saved. But basically, I added a conditional statement to the scale of the subtitle layer. Oh no, broke something. Let me resize this. Yeah, there we go. So I've got this statement. I hope you can see that because I can't actually zoom out anymore or zoom in anymore. I cannot make this any larger. No, actually, it isn't. I have everything in one comp. I used to have this done in such a way that everything was in separate comps, but that was getting so complicated. I'm now working largely with expressions and exclusions and conditional statements. So right now, what is happening is the subtitle opacity, this guy, is set up with a conditional statement linked to a controller. And by now I also realized I can simplify this conditional statement, but that doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. But basically it's linked to this subtitle on-off checkbox. So when it's on, it's 100%. When it's off, it's 0%. So when it's off, the opacity is at 0, so you just don't see the layer. But in order for the frame to calculate the missing subtitle, I also shrunk the scale of the subtitle to 0 with a conditional statement. So when it's on, it's value, just your basic size, and when it's off, it's 0. Yeah, Boolean checkboxes are 1, 0. That's why I'm using the conditional statement to make it 100 when it's 1. So I've used this variable that says subtitle on means it's at 1. So when subtitle on exists, it's 100. So I'm talking about the opacity now. And else it's 0. And actually, I don't need these. I'm so obsessed with semicolons, I put them everywhere, even when it's not necessary. Right. So I could technically also use true and false, is that right? So if I say true here, value equals checkbox. What? Okay, I'm definitely not following you, but I have the same problem when I'm talking to my friend Edikwa, who is a programmer, developer, and every time he tries to explain something in JavaScript terms, I'm like, I don't understand the language you're speaking. Because it's so abstract, I can't make the change to apply to my situation sometimes. So you're trying to say if true when false. Okay, so I could say I don't know. Value equals true or false, assign if true, assign is if false. Oh, I see. Okay, I see. So instead of the if-else conditional I have, it's kind of like a condensed version of that. Is that what you're trying to say? And also something that could be a little bit cleaner in my code, like for example, I have here the subtitle on, which equals 1, which then makes this 100. But in this one, the checkbox equals 1 inside the if statement. Like that's another thing, you know, I could improve on that and clean that up so that all the statements are written the same way, but yeah. Yeah, that's slightly above my head, unfortunately. So which code did you want to see? This is all the code that applies to the scale and opacity. There's no other code on these two properties. Then there is also the Y position property. So I could have added this just to the general position property and target the Y value, but I decided to separate dimensions and target Y position directly. Yeah. Yeah, so it depends. Like, my friend Erika suggested to write it this way because then the if statements is slightly cleaner. But yeah, I mean, either way, it does the same thing. So here for the Y position, that's dynamically positioning the subtitle below the bottom of the text. So it's basically calculating from, okay, so from the center, they're all of these layers are parented to a controller, which is in the center of everything, which means that's the point 0. And then from that point, I've calculated where the subtitle should be. And the subtitle has a leading, which is the line height, because I can't use the word leading because it's a variable name that is restricted, or I think there's another word for it. It's reserved in After Effects for calculating other stuff. So I haven't used that. I made my own. So it's line height, but my slide is actually called leading. And it's basically the height of the title divided by 2. That gets me, to the top of the title, to the top of the subtitle, which is title 2. Plus the line height. So if I didn't have the line height, just to show you, it would be stuck to the bottom of the title, which is position 0, essentially. So to, get it away from there, I have the added line height. And I've also improved on this with the line height, because I haven't added the line height in here yet, but I can just access it here. So if I make the line height, add the line height, the box resizes down towards where the line height should be going instead of in both directions. It's targeting the text by name. So every time you see title, it's referencing the title I'm talking about. So title 1 is the title and title 2 is the subtitle. It's a bit of a weird naming system, but I started with that and then I didn't want to change everything. So title 1 is the title, and title 2 is the subtitle. And so I always target the title, then I target the source rect at time, height, or width, depending on what I want to target. I add the transform scale to that, and then I add the calculation of what I need. So in the case of the subtitle, the position is title 2 height divided by 2 plus line height, which puts it here. Also, I improved on the way the frame sizes down instead of, and this was kind of the workaround that I did. It's actually not resizing, well, it is sizing down. I don't know how I did that, but it's working, so I don't want to change it. But basically what I did is it's resizing towards the bottom where the subtitle gets larger. And what else is the frame doing? it's repositioning itself. That's one other thing it does. So I think, let me see. How can I do this? I want to see this and I want to, okay. So when I change the size of the subtitle, you can see that the Y position is changing. So it's actually not resizing from the top. It's just moving down at the same time as it's scaling up. So it looks like it's scaling from the top instead of from the center, if you get me. Yeah, so all of my just to sum up with the parenting, all of my layers are only parented to the control, but they're not parented to each other or anything like that. And the other thing, what else was it? Yeah, so, and the position does the same thing when the title resizes. So when a title resizes, you can see that the position of the box is changing to account for the size of the title. So this is what the code for the position looks like. Hey, welcome to the stream. So basically the calculation here is I'm targeting the title, I'm targeting the subtitle. And then of the title, I'm targeting the height and the position. Of the subtitle, I'm targeting the height. And I have links pick-whipped to the line height and the checkbox. Then I'm calculating the Y position of like just the standard where I want it to be, well, not where I want it to be, where I want it to, what I want it to calculate when the subtitle is on, which means I want it to add half of the height of the subtitle, which is title 2, subtract the title because the title is scaling up, or it's above the center point, and I'm adding the line height because the line height is below the title. And then I have a conditional statement because I want this calculation to happen when the subtitle is on, and I want the frame to be at just the title position when the subtitle is off. So then that's how that calculation works. In like a week's time, I'll probably not be able to explain why I did that and how that works, but yeah. And yeah, talking about comp size, the way I did the left and right align, I used the clamp function for that, and I did calculate with the comp size as well. I know that's not what you were asking about. You weren't asking at all, but where was that? Clamp is part of the global position, which means it's here. Okay, so this is the position of the controller. So the global position targets the controller layer, and so I'm calling the X size, which is the width of the frame. I'm not sure why I'm calling the X size. I don't actually need the X size. I should delete that, but anyway, doesn't matter. I'm calling the margin, which is... The margin used to be the leading, but now it's the distance between the side of the screen and the frame. So if I put the margin to 0, you can see that the frame, this brown thing, not the blue thing, the brown line is aligned with the side of the screen, okay? So the margin is how far away from the screen it is at the edge, Well, it's actually just how far away from the screen it is, and then the calculation does how far away from the edge. Because, oh yeah, I'm using X size. Okay, so I'm calculating the X position by dividing the width of the frame. So that's the center point, the width of the frame. That's how far away I want it to be from the screen, plus the margin, so plus the 100 pixels. And then when it gets on the other side, so that's the minimum of the clamp. When it gets on the other side, I want to calculate the comp width. So I didn't want to give it a fixed value. I wanted it to calculate the comp width. And I'm kind of hoping this would also calculate the comp width of whatever Premiere Pro project you have, but probably not, because this is inside of a comp and it's only calculating this comp. But yeah, I just answered my own question. It's only calculating this comp, so it wouldn't work for any comp that this is in. But regardless, this is 1920 by 1080, you know, it's kind of a standard width. Sorry, that's my T. So I'm calculating the comp width minus the X position, which is half the width of the frame, minus margin, so that when you get to all the way to the left, here, when you get all the way to the left, it has the same function. It's the same distance away from the edge as it is from, come on, from this size, this side. And this, however, kind of gets broken when you start playing around with like the sizes here, because all of that is calculated on the original size. So if I start making this larger and smaller, if I change the global size, that doesn't apply anymore. And I guess I could add like calculations to add that into the dynamics, but this class is already like fucking 10 or 11 lessons long, and it's super complex code. So I think I'm just gonna not include that in this class, and I'm also not gonna include that in this template. So I think that's still workable. Yeah. Your complaint about typing in that tiny window is the same as my other developer friends. But yeah, it's super annoying because you have to stick to this tiny window. I mean, you can size this up, but you cannot zoom in. You know, you can't make the code larger. So. And you don't have keyboard shortcuts, yeah. Yeah, it's much better with the new update. You at least have some syntax highlighting and yeah. Yeah, I constantly are being told to, you know, learn to do scripting and stuff like that, so you don't have to write the expressions inside of After Effects, you don't have to write like duplicate expressions, you can just call them from a script. And yeah, in theory, that would be a great skill to have for me. But in practice, it means investing time learning that. And I'll do that at some point, but right now, my time is completely comprised in just learning, making this stuff, and learning this stuff before I move on to scripting. So now I just need to finalize the script for the last lesson, which is like final touches, you know. This is like huge right now, so like resizing things so it's not the size of a title but the size of a lower third, adding a little bit more like visual details so it, like, you know, assimilates more to this and stuff like that. So that's the last lesson I still need to write. Then I need to start recording it, which usually takes me like a day and a half, 2 days. And then I need to edit the class, which usually takes me, I don't know actually. Let me check. I have that written down. I can tell you. Let me switch to this view. Am I blurry? Kind of looks like I'm blurry. It's just... There we go. No, I shouldn't be blurry if I was blurry before. Let me tell ya. Just need to go into my Google Docs, or my Google Sheets rather. So the last class took me, I think it's this one. To edit. It took me, what, 2 hours to record? No. Oh, okay, here. It took me 6 hours to record, then another 2 hours just to check it, so about a day to record. And then it took me 2 3/4 of a day to edit, so about 3 days to edit, and that's only the video editing. And then there is like the animation stuff, like the titles and the lesson screens and stuff like that. That took another... Oh, that's somehow wrong. Oh, I see. So that one took me about a day and a half, 2 days approximately, to do the animation. Then it takes me about a day to do the upload, because the upload usually also includes like the render. So I like render it out, I check it, and sometimes there are mistakes, and the uploading process takes a while. And then I have to add the thumbnails for each lesson, at least on Skillshare, and like input all of like the project description and the class description and all of that. So that takes me about a day. And then I usually do marketing for that, and I now have like a new schedule for marketing, which is like about a week before the class launches, I start marketing it, and then a few days after it has launched, I keep kind of advertising it on my social media. So that takes about 2 days as well to produce the marketing materials. No, actually that's a separate step. To produce the marketing materials, that takes about 4 hours. And then to market, to actually like post and write and stuff and like deal with the marketing, that's another 2 days. So yeah, in total, the last class took 11 days and a quarter of an hour. So about 11 days to work on. And actually, I don't calculate my time on 8 days, 8 hours a day, but 6.5 hours a day, because there's always like additional stuff that I have to work on each day that doesn't fall into a project. And so on project work, I usually calculate 6.5 hours. So all of these days that I've quoted, those are 6.5 hour days. That doesn't include like other admin stuff that I do for the business. Yeah. Just reading the chat. Yeah, right. So the only thing that I would probably have to learn about scripting is how to include the script in, like how to call a script in After Effects. So I suppose I'd need to learn how to do that. But yeah. Well, I think I will call it a day for now. I hope you had fun learning about my class, watching me design this storyboard, and talk about my code. If you have any questions now, shoot, let me know. I will also close the room on Clubhouse. I don't think anybody really came around. I think there was like 2 people that popped up, but they were like, what is this? I don't understand. So they didn't say anything either. So But yeah, it's a new app, it's a new thing. I might try and include it a few times more, and maybe eventually I'll have an audience that wants to voice chat during the live streams. But I'm totally happy answering questions from the scripted chat or the text chat that you guys are currently writing in. But yeah, I will close this and I will not save it. Yeah, I think that's about it. Drop me questions in the last few minutes if you have any, and I'll try and answer. And if you don't have any questions, then I hope you enjoyed today's live stream. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already to support me. And if you'd like to support me on another level, you can also become a patron of mine. You can find my Patreon here on screen or in the video description. And as I said before, I also have Ko-fi now, or Ko-fi, and you can buy me a coffee or a tea. I don't drink coffee, but either way, you can support me on all these different platforms if you'd like. There is no obligation to do so. I stream every Tuesday and Friday on YouTube and Twitch, so you can catch me doing that this Friday, and I hope to see you then. Bye! Unless there are any questions. If not, I'll see you on Friday, maybe. Bye!